saving money with some lesser priced ingredients to make some delicious summer foods are where it's at. Today, I'm going to share with you some more refreshing summer recipes. I hope you will stick around. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. Where I shop in the city, I am lucky. There is a Walmart, a Dillon's, and an Aldi on 3 different corners in more than one area of the city. And that way I can go and shop the loss leaders of the items that are marked down to get you in the store, the specials they have that week, or I can hop on over to Aldi and get my produce there. I have found the produce at Aldi beats the prices of the other stores all the time unless they are having a special sale. So this recipe I'm going to start with today is with red onions, and red onions can be expensive at the regular grocery stores. When I was looking to buy these, I saw they were almost $5 for a 2-pound bag at the grocery store, but at Aldi they were the same price as the white or yellow onions for 2 pounds, and I could save several dollars a bag. So I hope you enjoy this next recipe. I've been wanting to make this recipe for a while, so we're going to do it today. In this pan, I have 1 cup of water, and to it I'm going to add 1 cup of white distilled vinegar, 5%, and then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, and we're going to add 1 tablespoon of salt. And then we're going to cook this on the stove until the sugar dissolves, and this is going to be our brine for red pickled onions. And then we're going to get our red onions ready, and we're going to put them into these 2 16-ounce mason jars, and these are just going to be refrigerator onions. You can put them on potato salad, you can put them on hot dogs, hamburgers, brats. You could eat them just on the side, but they're going to be a refreshing, delicious treat. And if you love onions like we do, you're going to love these. So the trick is to cut your onion in half and then cut it like this. They say that it absorbs the flavors better. I did put a bay leaf in the bottom of each of the mason jars. We're also going to use some diced garlic that I have. If you have fresh, you could use that. And I'm also going to use some pickling spice. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. I'm going to stuff them in the jars just as tightly as I can. Oh my gosh, these onions are kind of strong. We don't usually have red onions. I bought them specifically for this recipe. I've been wanting to make them for a while. We love onions. I've also been wanting to bake some onions whole, like baked potatoes. I've heard that's really good. We haven't got around to that yet, and that's just with a regular yellow onion. So we are going to get this all packed in here, sliced up, add about a teaspoon of minced garlic to each one of the jars, add a little bit of pickling spice to each one of the jars, and let that brine cool before we add it in. is now cooked, dissolved, and cooled just a little bit. So I'm going to use my jar funnel and I'm going to add this in to each of the jars until the onions are completely covered. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have quite enough here, but we're going to make this work. So I'm going to push the onions down underneath and try to pack them in a little bit tighter so that I don't have to make any more. And then all we have to do is put the lid on them, put them in the fridge for a couple of hours, and they will turn kind of a pink color, the water will, and that means they are done. And these last for 2 to 3 weeks in your refrigerator. I hope you enjoy. And here's what they look like when they're done. I'm so excited. Super easy recipe that takes you maybe 15 minutes. Our next recipe is going to be for some homemade refrigerated pancake syrup. Now I'm going to make maple today, but if you have a bunch of extracts like I do, you could make so many flavors. I also have black walnut. I have rum. I have strawberry, banana, and I have peppermint. So I have all these extracts and I never use them. I came across this recipe and I thought, I'm going to make some of my own pancake syrup. I have everything I need to do it. So what it takes is 1 cup of corn syrup. Now, I don't usually like to use corn syrup. I do have a child that's allergic to corn, so I don't use corn syrup a lot. If you don't want to use corn syrup, or if you want to go a less expensive route, you could also just use 1 cup of sugar. But I'm going to use a cup of corn syrup because I have it on hand. I like using things out of my pantry. That way I don't have to buy anything. So I have what I need for that. It takes 1 cup of water. I'm going to put this in a glass bowl because I'm going to make this in the microwave. Now, if you were using sugar, you might want to cook it on the stove till your sugar dissolved. I haven't tried the microwave type with the sugar, but the corn syrup, it's already liquid form. So this will be easy to do it in the microwave. 1/2 of a cup of brown sugar. Now, I'm using dark brown sugar, but you could use light. I'm just using it because that, again, is what I have on hand. 1/2 a cup of that. I'm going to mix this up. And then you can add as much maple extract as you want to make the flavor the way you want it. I'm just going to add a few drops of my maple extract. I'm going to stir this up. And I'm going to put this in the microwave for 3 minutes. And then I'm just going to transfer it into these mason jars that I have and mark them, put the lid on them, date them, and put them in my refrigerator. And this will last for up to a month in your fridge. So I've pulled it out of the microwave. It is very, very hot. I'm going to let this cool. It will thicken while it cools before I put it into my jars. But I taste tested it before I put it in the microwave and it was delicious. It tasted like authentic maple syrup. And if you have purchased or looked at the price of maple syrup in the stores, it's anywhere from like $6.99 to $8.99 for like 20 ounces. So this is way less expensive. So maybe next time you can think about trying to make your own syrup at home. So as soon as this cools, I'm going to pour it into my jars, get the lids on it once it's cooled sufficiently, and store it in my fridge. And we have our own homemade maple syrup. I have my maple syrup done and marked. It made just a little bit more than a 16-ounce mason jar, so I have another partial container in the fridge, but it tastes amazing. One of my goals this year has been to use up things I already have. So I have a lot of cooking supplies, I have a lot of pantry storage supplies, and that's some of the things that I've been looking for in recipes like this to use up, like my corn syrup and my extracts and things that I already have purchased, that I already have on hand, and it'll keep me from buying syrup because I have a lot of that stuff left over, and now I can make my own flavored syrup if I wanted to do a flavor. So super easy. And then that frees up money to do other things. Right now, I'm getting bids on replacing a few of my worst windows in my 1907 farmhouse. I also have a floor that needs to be ripped up and relaid because this house is so old that it was built on sandstone, no foundation, and some of those cross beams have rotted out. So I have a floor that needs replaced. So when you're trying to come up with money to do other things that you need to have done, saving money around the house is a perfect way to start. And groceries is always a perfect way to start. Groceries, cleaning supplies, any of those things that you would normally put in your shopping cart are great ways to start saving money towards the things that you need instead. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me today. Let me know if you've tried either one of these recipes or if there's something that you're interested in. I will do some more videos like this. I appreciate you all so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.